Welcome to this new episode of Humans Behind Art. And today's guest is Mariona, and you've probably seen her already in a few other videos that we published in the past, as for example in the conversation that we had together with Lisanne and Laisvi a couple of weeks back when we talked about gender, feminism, equality and identity. And about identity, it is also in this very interview today. And you will see, and we will be talking with Mariona about a project that she just finished recently and is finally ready to share with all of you here on Capta. So I hope you enjoy after the intro.
Well, my name is Mariona. I'm studying photography. And inside of Capta, I'm one of the ones editing videos, and I'm the one in charge of social media and the graphic design kind of part of the collective.
Exactly. So all the thumbnails, that's her. And yes, you're editing a lot of the community videos together with Rafaelos.
Yes.
Depending on who has time in the moment. And you're also doing what you didn't mention, the intros and outros.
Yes, of the communities with Pietro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now Pietro is in Italy right now.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe for the next few ones he will not be there. We need to figure out how we do it, and
yes.
maybe we film one or two today later. I don't know, depending on how this goes and how much time we have.
Exactly.
So you study photography here in Rotterdam at Willem de Koning.
Yes.
What got you into this field?
It was kind of like it was by chance. Like kind of it was. I wasn't going for that. I was studying it was in the last year of secondary school. I was doing the science subjects because I was going for the science program and for high school. But at the time of deciding the program, like the actual program, because there are like different programs of each program there in Spain. So I was like, yeah, no, that's not for me. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
But any of the other programs, neither the technological one, the humanistic, none of them. I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not for me. So I was playing basketball at that time, and I was playing with a girl that was studying in a school where they had like an artistic program. 3 different ones, but yeah, they had one, and my school didn't. So I was like, yeah, well, let's give it a chance and let's go and see what is that.
Nice.
And they were like, yeah, we have 3 different art programs: the theater one, the more plastic fine art one, and the audiovisual one. And at that time, I was starting taking more pictures because I've been always taking pictures since I was a kid, but never thought about it as a. And I was like, yeah, well, maybe I can try this. And after a month, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That is it. That's it. Yeah. But it was completely like, yeah, I wasn't expecting it at all. But yeah.
How old were you then when you started that?
16.
16.
16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're doing that now since, how old are you now?
20.
20, so it's about 4 years. 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah.
What was then the step to decide, okay, I want to do that as a professional study as well, to continue it?
I think it was more around the second year of high school, because like all my teachers were professionals. So that was also the part that I really liked from that high school, that all my teachers were in the filmmaking industry, and some of them were photographers as well. And realizing that can be like a profession. because I've been always surrounded by culture and arts, and even though my dad is like works on
Yes.
the culture industry, I never thought about it as a profession and a living thing. But seeing all of them, like, yeah, they're doing it. It's possible, and seeing that it was the only way I enjoyed doing things, and I enjoyed explaining myself, and and only way kind of explaining actually myself, or not just expressing. It was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I'm gonna do, because it's the only way I see I can, yeah, do everything I want. Yeah, but it was, yeah, around the second year when I started realizing that.
Nice. And for me, there in this is already a connection into what you've done now in this project of continuing exactly this path of figuring out how to express yourself.
Yeah.
Which has a lot to do with identity, of course, as there's different people finding different ways to express themselves. At Capta here we see a lot of dancers, obviously, and then some weird circus people that don't really do circus but stuff.
Yeah.
So what is it about this research that keeps you busy?
I guess it's like the constantly, like, not finding answers and experimenting to try to find those answers, like the constantly experimentation of this part, because yeah, you have to find different ways of getting to the point, because there's not only one way, and sometimes you don't even get to the point, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's that experimentation and trying out whatever and everything. It's like the part I enjoy most, and yeah, that's what keeps me, like, to do everything I do.
You mentioned about getting to a point. Do you have, when you start a session or a project or whatsoever, do you have a point in mind that you want to achieve? Or do you just start and see where it leads you?
It depends on which thing I'm working on. Like, there's sometimes that I have something really clear and I have a picture in my mind, and it's like, that's where I want to get and that's what I want to do, and I have it clear, and then the thing is getting there and actually doing it. But some other times I just like, and that's one thing that I just realized this year, I start doing and keep doing and keep doing, and this year I realized that I have to collect and keep everything I do. Because yeah, it's just like doing, and so at some point, like, you will find that everything you did or something you did, it like leads you to something else. So it depends. Sometimes, yeah, I have like the image and I go for it, or at least I try it.
Yeah.
But some others just like I leave it flow, and whatever happens. Yeah.
So there's both this very conscious process of, okay, how do I achieve exactly this, and then a very technical side almost to it.
Yeah. It's more, yeah, the process part, the other, like, more process focus. It's more like experimentation. I don't care what I'm doing. It's just I'm doing. The other is more when I have like an idea or a project in mind. It doesn't happen so often. Like, it's most of the time it's the other way of doing. But yeah, it's both.
Yeah. Now, how is there then the daily life, let's say, in a school formation where you have deadlines and projects to define and to deliver? How is that influencing this then, as you say, okay, you tend to be more towards the experimental side of things?
that's what I was wondering how it's gonna be when I applied for the academy. When I start the first term, I was like, okay, I didn't expect this.
Mm-hmm.
They just let us do whatever, experiment. We don't care. We can present. You can present whatever you want. Doesn't have to be related to photography.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I wasn't expected that.
So much freedom.
I have too much freedom right now. What do I do?
Yeah.
So I experimented that more this last term because it was more. We only had like 2 months, and it was more focused on our last term, school project for this year, and they were more expecting more like. They gave us more deadlines and more, yeah, you have to define what do you want to do, why do you want to do it, how are you going to do it. So it was experimented that mostly these 2 last months. But at the beginning, it was like, yeah, just do whatever you want. And at first, it was kind of tricky for me because I wasn't used to it. Because, yeah, like in high school, I was like, yeah, deadlines and project and blah 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 and exams and blah blah blah. And here it was like, okay, so now I have freedom to do whatever I want. I don't know what do I want to do, and I don't know how to start. But you get used to it, and actually sometimes it's tricky because then you have too much time and you don't know how to organize the time to do everything. But once you find a way, sometimes you don't, but you finally do it.
But even if you don't find a way, it's something you can learn from a lot.
Exactly. It's just so cool because you can experiment.
Yeah.
And everything is welcome, like there in the academy. So.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so cool.
It sounds like it's the perfect ground for exactly this identity self-finding process.
Yeah.
Which is great, and especially for an art academy to allow that, I think is very, very valuable.
Yeah.
But I also think in relation to that, when you first told me like, okay, you're studying photography, but you don't even have to take pictures or touch a camera at all if you don't feel like.
Exactly.
For me it was very interesting, and I was thinking about it for a while and considering, okay, what will that do to the artist, to the maker? And because I had similar experiences in my studying career as well. Not necessarily while I was studying at Codex, but for example I did an audition in Toulouse for a school. And the very first task that we had to do there was to make a performance. And the task was to not do any circus, but everything that is not circus, and tell with that who you are. And that was a very interesting task, because I see it a lot as well in my colleagues, that there is a lot of defining yourself through the discipline that you do, be it the various disciplines inside of circus, or be it photography in the realm of visual arts and all those kind of aspects. And it was very much a challenge, but I think I got a lot from it, of having to face this. And the other thing that I was thinking is like, okay, to connect all those exams and deadlines with university. But now that I'm graduated and not in school anymore since some years, okay, there is nobody giving you deadlines for your own projects. So you kind of anyway have to structure yourself. And the earlier you start this self-structuring process of giving deadlines to yourself as well, giving restrictions to yourself as well, was something that I realized is incredibly useful.
Yeah.
So that is really nice that is in the academy, that you have the space for that.
Yeah.
Now, as we have already talked a little bit now about identity, there's another aspect, and we will talk more about your project in particular after. But the other thing that you mentioned was you felt the need to document everything.
Yeah.
Which falls into cartography in a way.
Yeah.
So what is it behind this feeling of needing to document everything?
I'm still trying to figure that out, because I don't know why, but like, yeah, since I started taking, like around between the 2 years of high school, I started carrying around my camera all the time, like my little digital camera, and capturing every moment I was experiencing. And yeah, like that idea of why am I doing this? No, it's like it stayed in my computer. I don't look at it. Just sometimes if I really want to use that, but and that like it's more like a casual day-to-day thing. But also now I'm getting more into research, and yeah, like my project's more like a research, self-research thing, but in general research, and like I think that's like documentation. It's a really important part of research, and yeah, I think I don't know why am I doing it, but I feel like it's useful for me in some way, that I have it structured and I have it somewhere and somehow, and it's there. And if I want to go back at some point and look at it, because I don't know, I have another idea for something else or whatever, I have it there.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I'm trying to like make like physical documentations of those research as well, because then it's like that little notebook, that little book is there, and I can go.
Yeah.
And it's not lost in my computer. That is a mess right
in
now.
In a very deep folder structure somewhere.
Exactly. But I'm still trying like to figure out why is that. Why am I always taking pictures of every moment I'm living, or why I need to, like I have the need of, I don't know, but it's just like that, and I'm trying to figure it out.
I have some ideas, but
Which ones?
One thing, like I always try to relate things to other art forms, and okay, what is the equivalent to this documentation that you do to performing arts, for example, the things that I do. And for me, I see an equivalent there somewhere between the practice side of things, where it's not just about practicing certain tricks or technical stuff, but just practicing creating, practicing the eye, practicing the state of mind somehow. Without any goals attached, just to do something, because that is already a great skill that I think many people are lacking actually, that they are having the need to turn it into a project. Instead of just taking distance to it and seeing what is the thing itself that I made, independent of what is in my brain right now. But if I look back at it in 2 years, I will see something entirely different, and that material again can give me a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, it's something I actually learned this year. I used to throw everything away once I had it or I made it, and because I didn't find a purpose for a project. I was like, yeah, that's not useful, so bye. But this year, like with this freedom that they gave us at the academy, and the thing of don't throw anything away, I want to see it. Just like maybe it doesn't go anywhere, but just keep it. And it made me realize that, like maybe it's not useful right now for anything, but it might be at some point, or not. You don't know. But keep it. It's like, at least you have it.
Exactly.
And yeah, this, and also like the thing that you said, like learning by creating and seeing what you like and what you don't, and what is working for you and what is doesn't. You can only see it if you do it.
That's true.
And realizing that, it's like, yeah, okay, that's one of the reasons why I'm yeah, true. I'm gonna keep track of this and keep it, and maybe at some other point I'll take it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you never know what value will there be inside of it at some point. The other question I have in regards to that is how, with those documentations, how precious are they to you?
They are while doing it, while creating them. Once I'm done with them, it's okay, it's done. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like stay with this like for months. Maybe I'll catch up with it at some other point, but not continuously. And I made like the most recent, like, okay, not the most recent, but like the one before that, the project, because my project is a documentation.
Exactly.
Per se. So like the one before, it was like more a documentation of experimentations with lights, and I had for an idea I had for an installation, and the little book I've made is somewhere in my room. I don't know where, but it's somewhere in my room. Yeah. So that's like how valuable are for me. Like they are, and I like what I do, but once it's done, it's done. And if I at some other point want to work on it again, I will look for it, and then I will look at it again and see what can I do with that. Yeah. But I think I cannot. If I keep thinking about that and only about that, I will not be able to move forward. I have to detach myself from that in some way, because if not, it's difficult to continue with other things. So
what I see with myself as well is there is this thing of, maybe it's just me, but I like to destroy things. But not to throw them away, but to transform it into something else by destructive methods. Be it, okay, let's take photography as an example. If I have a picture, as long as it's on the computer, there's not so much I can do with it.
But when it's printed, then...
Exactly, but once it's printed and once it's something haptical and physical, then I can rip it apart and make a mosaic, I don't know, or throw the picture into water and see what happens to the colors or whatsoever, or just throw it in the corner of my room and ignore it, and it will gather dust. Maybe I will step on it and maybe it will break, maybe I spill something over it. And then half a year later I pick it up again and it turned into something completely different through the actions that I did to it, but without me actively trying to do something with it. And for me that's always a super fascinating project where I discover things, like there's some old... There's some Polaroids just there.
Like,
exactly. And there's more somewhere in a box. I don't know where that box is right now, with lots of other Polaroids in it that are slowly deteriorating. Yeah. But exactly this process I find fascinating and beautiful. It's one thing, you start with the documentation of the thing that you take a picture of, and then everything that follows after is a documentation of time. Yeah. And for me that has something super poetic.
It does.
As we already mentioned your project in multiple bits and pieces from different angles here and there, let's get to the point. Can you describe what have you done? What is this project?
Well...
Does it have a title actually?
It kind of have. Okay. But I'm not sure if I want to... Like, okay, then it maybe has a title, but we ignore it. Yeah, right now I'm ignoring it a bit. the project per se is a like lifetime project, let's say. It's but what I made, it's a documentation of the process that brought me to decide to start this project. So it's like all...
It's recursive.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Nice.
Like, yeah. So the project, like the main point of the whole project is visual research on who I am in relation to my physicality. And everything started like a bit more than a year ago when I started to take self-portraits in my room. And I was kind of bored, and I was in my room, and I was like, yeah, let's do something. And the fact of not like being a bit insecure with my physicality and also with the camera in front of me, but this kept there. I was like, yeah, let's try to do something. I'm alone in my room, no one is watching, no one is judging, so let's do something. And without realizing it, I kept doing this, and I kept taking self-portraits in my room, in my multiple rooms, but in my room, during a year. And and I realized that this moment of taking self-portraits and more concretely nudes, it was there and was constantly there. And also this aim to discover who is this person and what is in my mind and why is there and whatever. It was there since for a long time. So I wanted to do something. But yeah, it's like this this point you want to get to, but you don't know how. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, then I'm getting into research, artistic research, and I've been documenting and working on process in process like for a really long time now. So let's do something with it. And yeah, from here, this big project kind of was born. But it wasn't in this wasn't thinking about it in that way. I was thinking about it as a short-term project to finish my school year and just present it and I'm done. But when I started getting into and actually researching on it, but physically by taking action and okay, let's do something, I realized it was not a short-term project. It was a long-term project.
Now I am busy editing this video at the moment, and I realized, okay, we're talking a lot, but you don't really get to see and understand what it is that Mariona did. So I thought to throw in a little bit of the video that Mariona created, where she's showing and talking a little bit about the project that she made, and I hope you enjoy it. If you want to see the entire video though, and want to see more of the art that Mariona is doing, then I very much advise you to check out the video description down below, where you can find the link to the full video that she published, as well as to her website, where you can find out a lot more about the art that she's doing, next to all the things that she's doing here with us at Capta. So enjoy.
Everything follows a process, and analyzing and reflecting on this process is the first step in moving forward. This project is no more than the documentation of this process. It has neither beginning nor end, just one more step on the research of who I am. I remember sitting next to my dad multiple times, having conversation about different topics. There's one, though, that keeps popping up nowadays. The importance of a room of one's own. How necessary it is to have your own space to develop yourself and your ideas. I didn't quite understand why he would always bring that up until I started this journey a bit more than 1 year ago. Having a room for myself again allows me to build up my own space, my safe space, as I please. It's in those moments of solitude where the need to discover my physicality and get deeper on the research of who I am appears. My room is my safe space, the place where I can be and not think about what others are gonna say about me or what I do. Feeling surrounded by a safe environment allows me to undress myself in front of a camera and play around with my physicality as an exercise of trying to be comfortable with it. I get a cable release for my large format camera, and before using it for that, I decide to take a new series of self-portraits in my room and play around with the idea of me being a meter away from my camera and deciding when and how to take the picture. Now the focus it does is not only on my physicality and self-research, but on to create a statement as a photographer. I, as a photographer, decide when, where, why, and how I photograph.
So you said that there was all this process and there was this realization to it, and that you only really got there once you really started to practically, physically start to do things.
Yeah, then's when I started to take action on the project. Like, okay, I have to start doing something. Okay, now it's like I have all these ideas in mind, but have to do it. And then when I start taking action and like researching physically, on the topic on who I am in relation to my body, that's when I realized, okay, this is not a short-term project.
Yeah.
I cannot only make it for school. Have to do it for myself. And it's gonna take a while.
Nice.
But yeah.
I find this distinction really interesting between what you just said of, okay, I don't just do it for school, but I do it for myself. And I think that's a really important step somewhere.
Yeah.
To take ownership in a way as well. And I think that's great. One question that came up in my mind while you were talking was, you said, okay, at some point you became aware of what you were doing and that it was already something that was going somewhere and just wasn't defined it consciously yet before. Did something change in how you were doing things the moment that you became aware of it?
Yeah, I stopped taking pictures.
Okay.
There's like in the notebook, there's like a part that that I say that here the research is not anymore a visual research, but more like writing down my ideas and reflections on the topic. So that's what happened. I started to write down everything instead of taking pictures of myself. But it was more because there was something I had to reflect on, and that I couldn't do it by taking pictures at that moment. Now I have some ideas already on the first things I want to work on and how I can do it visually. But at that moment was, okay, I have to take, everything is here, have to put it on paper.
Make it physical.
Exactly. And I cannot, I don't have right now the tools or the energy to do it visually. And yeah. That's what happened.
Okay. Now that's a bit what was going on in my head there. Okay, like if I do something
unconsciously for a while and then suddenly become aware of it, I have always this dilemma of, shit, what do I do now?
Mm-hmm.
Because the moment that I do it consciously, it's something entirely different. To me, at least. I don't know if it would also be to the outside. I don't know. But my relation to whatever it is that I'm doing is suddenly turned 180 degrees. And there's some moments where I just force myself, okay, this is what I have been doing the past month. I will continue doing it and I will make a schedule.
Yep.
That's the one side, and the other side is, okay, I stop, and then I haven't had the drive to turn it into something like what you did with Stuff of Mine yet. Also because, okay, the medium is a different one, and I didn't really find a good translation yet between, okay, things that I do physical, okay, how do I document that process, staying true to the medium?
Yeah.
Well, the only really communication with that medium is the performance itself. So there's ongoing research, ongoing question marks, lots of question marks.
Yeah, it's
no
not
answers.
Easy to find a way to express what you want to do or document or whatever in your own medium, and in the medium you're comfortable with or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of tricky. I'm also struggling with that right now. It's like, okay, everything I want to say and want to do, how am I gonna do it? But it's also like a nice part because it's a lot of experimentation and research leads you to find things that maybe you haven't thought about it.
Yeah. Now, what are further plans with this book that you created, to quickly name what it is, that project, whose title we don't talk about?
Yeah, well, the title.
You don't have to go into it. It's fine.
Okay. What was first a date? It is a date. It's the day I start taking those first self-portraits, and has like, it's not an ending date, you know, like it's just like beginning a date. But I'm just not sure because I talk about not having any beginning or end. So I didn't feel like
define a beginning.
Like with the title, I'm defining a beginning.
Yeah.
And I don't like that because actually, I think this topic goes farther. Like it goes beyond that. They start taking those self-portraits.
Yeah.
So that's why it has a name, it has a title, but I kind of don't like it.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided not to make any cover for the little notebook. But yeah, the coming ideas, stuff for this project, I don't know yet. I have like now I feel like I have to so I want to make a visual research on who I am physically in relation to my body, but I feel like now I have to define what is this research gonna be, like I will be focused on, because there are like so many aspects.
Yeah, of course.
And what do I want to focus on first? I think it's important here to talk about how like this project started, like theoretically, because it's kind of like the first step, the first part I want to work on. So I wanted like actually to make an installation talking about 3 different moments that I kind of research on who I am in relation to my body. So those moments were with the movement, with not doing anything, with resting, and with more into in an intimate moment with myself. So I start taking that action, that actually doing something on it with the movement part. And I start taking dance classes with Danny.
Yeah.
So since I start doing that, like in that part, and that part led me to start to redirect the project in some way. I think the first the first part I'm gonna work on for this project is the movement, and how am I reacting to moving, and how I mentally and physically react to it. And I already got like some ideas with Danny from his classes on that I want to work on and experiment on that. But I have still not so many ideas on how to. But right now I want to park this topic for a while and then retake it, because it's again a long-term project. It's something really personal, and sometimes
you have to give
it
some time to breathe.
Exactly, and I don't want to be with it like every 24/7 with it, because I'm gonna get
crazy.
bored and get crazy with it. So I have some ideas, and I want to work on some during the summer and see what happens, but not with a goal of wanting to finish this first second part of the project in a period of time. I'm gonna give it its time and see what happens.
I mean, exactly this is something that in the interview I did with Nativa, we also talked about just putting something on a shelf for some time, and you'll come back to it and you'll have some new eyesight to it, and that's beautiful. And I think that's also something very personal for people. This, to be able to just put something on a shelf. There's other people who, when they start a project, they're boom in that project, and there is no left or right from it, there's only poof. And I'm not like that, and I find those people incredibly fascinating. I don't understand how they work.
No.
But the results and stuff are usually super amazing as well. And as your topic is identity, self-finding, that fact of how you research it and how you put it as well onto a shelf is a part of the project in a way in itself as well. Which comes back to the recursiveness of the whole thing, which I find super cool. That leads to that, which led to the beginning. I mean, there is no beginning, there is no end, and it's definitely a long-term project. Because without a beginning and end, it kind of has to be, right?
Yeah, it has to.
Nice. Now, how? What is the plan with this book, actually? Like, are you planning to publish it and distribute it, or do you just keep it in a small batch?
No, for now I want to keep it only for me. I'm showing it to other people to just get some feedback from from an external point of view, and just commenting on the topic and see what other people has to say and stuff in relation to this. But for now it's gonna be my copy. It's not gonna be any more. Maybe I don't know how I'm gonna what I'm gonna gonna have with the next things I work on for this project. But if I finally do something like I don't know, I show this project somehow, the notebook is gonna be there for sure, because it's part of the project. It's the first step.
But it's part of your identity. And not.
But the whole project is it's part of who I am, so it has to be there. So if I do something at some point in relation to this project, the notebook is gonna be there. And now the video I made to present the notebook is online. So there's people that can watch it. But there's no aim to publish it and people having it in their No, just no.
Yeah.
No, it's something pretty personal, and even though I like to show it to other people to get feedback and talk about the topic, it's just that.
Yeah, but it's not a notebook in the form of it's a presentation, but it's just a stone along that long path, and through that an invitation as well for people who take a look at either the physical book or the video or the other things that you've shared from this project so far. An invitation to explore themselves instead of, okay, here's me, and maybe in a year I will be very different. I don't know, but this is what I do. Yes, sure, you can take a look at it. I don't want to hide it.
No.
But I don't want it to be yours.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, and like the also fact of showing it as well is kind of how is it? It's like encouragement for others. Like, yeah, just there's no bad on reflecting on oneself and taking a look at you and just
And I think it's something that in our current society is also something that is very much in the background somewhere.
Yeah.
Like it's something that all of us, I think, should do more and pay more conscious attention to as well. To discover your own voice, your own being, your own everything.
Yeah.
And to take your life in the far sense in your own hands. By, as you described, by just starting to do something.
Yeah.
And nobody cares what.
No, exactly. Can be whatever.
Yes, it can be whatever, and if you try something for a week and you're like, nah, that's not it, just do something else, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
You don't have to turn it into a project.
No, at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Other things that you want to add?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. Your video that you talked about, is probably gonna be in the description below. Or maybe, if you allow me, I also put some snippets of it into this video.
Yeah, wherever.
We'll see. And if you don't like it, you just make the thumbnail and write on it, ignore those parts. And done. Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
In the end, it wasn't so hard to talk.
No, it wasn't. It was
Very good.
Yeah.
You got on a roll and you even articulated, and there was some volume behind.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Getting better.
Getting stronger on your own feet because you know where you're standing much more. So that's good. Very good.